everyone. Hello, it's Janai Thornton, and I'm so excited to welcome you to another edition of Thank Me Later Real Life. And this segment is amazing. So, of course, we have Tanya Mitchell Graham. Welcome back. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Tanya, I have to say, your videos that we've created with you on child support and divorce are our most watched videos within the Thank Me Later community.
Really?
Especially the child support.
Okay.
Okay.
I tried to give the ladies some gems on that one.
You certainly did. But I'm excited that you're here. And again, Tanya Mitchell Graham, we have worked together, I think probably almost 18, 20 years now?
Since 2004.
Since 2004,
yes.
We did our first case together.
Yes.
So obviously a family lawyer.
Yes.
So this is Tanya Mitchell Graham, PC. I want to make sure everyone knows how to see you or follow you.
Yes.
So your website?
My website is www.tmgesq.com.
Okay, and on IG, TMGESQ.
Correct.
And then, of course, TMGPC.
That's the firm.
Okay,
yes.
That's the firm.
Yes.
So you reached out to me a couple of months ago.
I did.
It was kind of random on the weekend, and you were like, girl, we need to talk about this whole custody thing.
We do. For the ladies.
For the ladies.
Yes.
And it kind of shocked me because basically what you were saying is women are not automatically getting custody like we assume. And
That's the
also
law.
Women are losing custody.
They are. And these women are not unfit. And so it is very important that ladies know, what do I need to do and what do I not need to do so that I can maintain custody of my children?
Right. And for those of you who are wondering, why in the world, Thank Me Later, obviously we're completely focused on women in finance, but why are we talking about custody? Because obviously there's a direct correlation to custody and receiving child support.
Receiving or having to pay.
Or
if
having
the
to
lady
pay.
Loses.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's just kind of sit with that. Because,
Okay.
I mean, just as a woman, the thought of paying child support?
It's a real possibility if dad gets primary physical custody. And, the test is, what is in the best interest of the children? And there's no automatic right to custody with mom. And so the reason why I reached out to you is that, as you know, I primarily represent men.
Right.
However, I do represent ladies too, and I have ladies who come in who think, okay, I automatically have custody, so all we're talking about is how much child support will I get on behalf of my children. But if dad decides he wants primary custody or even joint physical custody,
right,
you need to be careful because these judges are giving dads primary physical custody. I've gotten dads primary physical custody, as you know, for some of your clients.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
And there are reasons for that. And in all of those cases, not a single mother was unfit.
So just for those of us who don't understand, primary physical custody means what?
That means that basically if we're talking about the school year, the child goes to school from your home. All right? So standard visitation is alternating weekends, 2 weeks in the summer, alternating spring break, alternating holidays. That's what the non-custodial parent gets.
Okay.
And so if you have all the other time, you're the primary physical custodian. But what is happening now is that more and more men are deciding, you know what, I can do this and I think I can do it better. And so they're asking for custody, and based upon the facts and circumstances of the case, mom could potentially lose custody and she doesn't have to be unfit.
So if a woman is married, going through a divorce, so you have divorce, child support, custody, in what order is that handled?
It's all handled together. Well, the divorce is dead last. So
Okay.
At the final trial or whenever we settle, that's dead last. So let's say you come in and you want a divorce and you have minor children.
Okay.
So typically we'll file the divorce. Dad will either acknowledge service or get served. We may have a temporary hearing to set up custody on a temporary basis while the case is pending. We may also set up the child support while the case is pending. I tell you what's funny, though, almost in every divorce, the parties are still living together.
Really?
In the same, yes.
In the same house?
In the same house, separate bedrooms. All right. And so typically, if there's no violence or no reason for
Right.
one of the parents to get out, the court may let it sit like that. But sometimes people come in and one of the other party has already left the home and they're living in two different residences.
Right.
How do we take care of the children? Who gets custody? If that's not agreed upon, then we have to go to court and let the judge decide. And so the test is, what's in the best interest of the child or the children? Right? So you have to look at a number of factors. So I just really want ladies to know, moms, let me tell them,
Right.
moms,
Right.
you do not automatically get custody of the children. You do not. And so if mom doesn't automatically get custody, how does dad get custody? A lot of people want to know. Well, surely mom must be unfit. No.
Right.
Various different ways. The court has to look at really the bond between the parent and the child.
So relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
The court also looks at the bond between the child and maybe other siblings, even step siblings or half siblings. I don't like to use that word.
Right.
They'll look at each parent's stability. For instance, if mom bounces from apartment to apartment to apartment, for instance, here's a big one.
Okay.
If mom has school-age children, mom is leasing her residence. She's in DeKalb County.
Right.
Her lease is up. I think I'll move to Clayton County. She stays there a year. She says, you know what? I think I want to go to Alpharetta. Now she's in Fulton County. She has now taken that child to three different school systems.
Right.
Meanwhile, in that entire period, dad's been in the same place.
Right.
Who do you think's getting custody?
Right. Just simply from moving.
Yes, and
Right.
other factors. Let's say if mom's bouncing around like that and they're equal on every single other aspect,
Right.
dad's very likely going to get custody. Here's another one. Let's say that mom, every time she gets into a relationship,
Right.
she wants to move in with her boyfriend,
Okay.
but she's got minor children. Okay?
Are men viewed as negatively when they do that too? Are fathers?
Well, it depends if they're going from woman to woman to woman. I don't typically see that with men. I do see a lot of women who have one or more children.
Right.
They'll live with this boyfriend for a year, year and a half. Boom, they'll go live with this one for 2 years. And you can't just keep exposing your children to all these different people.
Right.
Now, it's perfectly fine for you to get engaged and get married.
Absolutely.
But if you're going from person to person, it's just like moving from county to county or place to place. It's not good. Children need stability. They need to be in a certain school system. And then if you are going to move, try to move at the milestones, after 5th grade,
Right.
after 8th
when
grade.
they're transitioning, they would have to transition schools anyway.
Right, but
Right.
I would think that once you have them in the middle school, it would be really fair to the children, if you're considerate, to let them go to the high school where all their friends that they acquired in middle school. Those are particular bonds right there. So they'll look at that. They'll look at each parent's familiarity with the children's needs. Let's say, for instance...
But how do you measure that, though? How does a judge measure that?
It's real easy, just the facts. Let's say, for instance, there are a couple of children, and one of the children has autism. Let's say dad is self-employed, so he's able to take this child that has autism to all of the appointments. Dad might be the person who's researching special programs, special summer camps. Meanwhile, let's say mom has a very demanding job, and then they split.
Okay.
Who do you think's getting custody?
Who's going to get the custody?
The parent that can operate in the best interests of the children. I mean, there are all sorts of factors. Let's say that the parties move here from another state.
Okay.
They're together. They have children. And let's say dad has family here. Mom is completely from another state, has no family, no friends here, and now they're divorcing. Do you know that courts consider help that you have? So a lot of people think that it's negative, like if a dad wants custody and he's got a mom, a sister, a cousin, even a best friend that can help with pickups and drop-offs, not only between he and mom, but also for the activities.
Right. Because it sounds like that means there's a full support system.
He's got a support system. So if dad has a better support system, he may get custody. Here's another example. let's say that mom, the parties weren't married, the child was born, and now mom's angry because they've broken up sometime after the child was born.
Typical story. Right.
Very typical.
Right.
And let's say that mom says, you can't see the child. We weren't married. Somehow mom's figured out that here in Georgia, if you're not married and you don't get married, dad has no rights.
None.
0.
Because he has no rights
Because in Georgia, you have to file a petition to legitimate your minor child or children. However, once he files that petition, we have that order on legitimation. Now dad stands on equal grounds with mom. And so he can ask for custody. So if mom's over here alienating, withholding the child, talking negatively to the children about dad, conversely, dad's over here saying, hey, mom's great, but can you come see me sometimes?
Right.
That's going to be a problem for mom. And a lot of times these cases, mom will have a couple of issues. Here's another example. Let's say mom has a child and mom has a career where she's, traveling a lot, maybe doing some things for Instagram.
Okay.
She's got her, various things that she does for Instagram. And mom,
her life is on display.
Her life is on display, but you know what? I am not a hater. Some of those
Right.
ladies make some very good money.
Right.
Let me tell you. Okay? Back in my day, I wish. I wish. But some of these ladies make very decent. I'm talking about a full 6-figure.
Right. No question. Right.
No doubt. And
Right.
it's good, legitimate money. But they have their child put over here off on grandmom. Meanwhile, dad's stable.
Right.
Dad's remarried. Dad has a new baby.
Right.
And now he wants to have
This child.
Yes.
Right.
So, in that instance, mom is not unfit. She's just busy. She's out making her money. Meanwhile, dad is kind of stable with his family unit. He's the one taking the child to the doctor's appointments and to the dentist because, mom's in Paris. Now she's in Barcelona. Now she's home for a week and boom, she's jet setting off somewhere else. She's in Johannesburg now. My God, mom's living her best life, but she has kids.
Right.
And so if dad is a little more stable and he's like, well, hey, I picked out this school, and mom's like, talk to me about that later.
Right. And so as you go through all of these situations, I'm assuming it sounds like you must be pulling from some of your previous cases. So,
Yes.
so are these are some of the key, some of the folks you've represented the father here, but these are some of the key reasons why the mother lost custody.
I wouldn't necessarily say that I've represented the father.
Okay.
Because I have had some cases that come in and the ladies are kind of in bad shape. I can't change the facts.
Right.
Okay. And so if mom comes in, I had one case where, don't forget at age 14 and older, children can elect which parent they want to live with here in Georgia, Illinois too, by the way.
Okay. So the child gets to decide at 14.
Yes, and
Okay.
if they can sign a minor child election,
Right.
14 and older. And so if the parent that they pick is not unfit, court like 99.9% of the time,
They're going to allow the
they're
child
going
to
to go
pick.
with that. Okay, so that's another situation where, and you know what some dads do? They wait till the kid gets about 15. They promise a car. Child turns 16. Child signs an election.
Right.
And let's say if that's the oldest child and
Right.
there are some other ones, they're all coming.
Oh, so that means when one comes, they all come.
They're not going to split these kids.
That's
they
right.
usually don't. So let's say
Right.
there's 3 kids.
Right.
And the oldest son is turning 16. Dad didn't do it at 14 because he's smart.
Mm-hmm.
Taught that baby how to drive at 15. Got the learner's permit
Right.
and everything.
Right.
16, boom, here's your car. Here's your minor child election, Dad. Thank you. Where are my keys? Dad now files for custody, and he wants all 3 of them.
And so now dad has custody.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, he's not paying child support anymore now.
Mom may have to pay dad.
And so regardless of mother, father, so obviously the sex doesn't matter. It's whoever
Not at all.
the custodial parent is, that non-custodial parent. They're going to go through the child support system just like the mother's going to go
well,
through.
maybe not the system, like, Department of Child Support.
But I mean the process, rather.
They could. Now,
Right.
we also have to look at the income of both parties. So let's say if both parents earn about the same amount, mom's probably paying child support to dad. I've even had a case where dad was a multimillionaire,
Right.
But the court still ordered mom to pay child support to dad because he had primary custody. So that's important.
Help me with that.
Mm-hmm.
Why, if the father's a multimillionaire, why would the mother who isn't have to pay the multimillionaire child support?
Well, back in 2007 here in Georgia, we changed the child support law.
Right.
So you put the income on a child support worksheet.
Right.
There's an automatic calculator, and the calculator will look at the combined family income.
Okay.
And then let's say if dad's income is 97% of the total combined income and mom's is 3%. Well, the code section is going to pick out a basic child support obligation, and mom's going to pay her pro rata share of that. So mom may have to pay child support. So, it's really important that moms don't come into a custody battle thinking, hey, I'm automatically going to get custody because I'm the mom.
Right.
So if you're withholding the child, you don't have any family support, you're bouncing from county to county to county. You don't want him to see the kids anyway because this man is now engaged and about to marry somebody else.
You got an attitude.
What?
Right.
I have an attitude.
Right.
And dad's not seeing the kids. Well, you could get yourself in a little bit of trouble.
And so, before we started recording, I was saying to you, just candidly, had my husband and I, David, divorced when our kids were younger, I'm thinking probably, based on the fact that we had two boys, I think that he probably would have had custody. And then you looked at me and you said,
you probably would have paid child support.
And I was like, no, ma'am. And so
what was funny is that you were like, oh, yeah, I could see, and I wouldn't have had a problem
I wouldn't have had
an
issue.
You might have had to write that check.
It made sense to me that he would have had custody of our kids. But when you said that I would have had to pay, I'm like, wait a minute.
Now you have an issue because the courts first of all, courts make the decision on custody, not a jury. Some people come in, well, I just want a jury. The judge made me mad. I want a jury for the
jury for
juries
this.
do not decide custody.
Right.
The judge does that. And it's the same judge. Well, I want another judge for the final hearing. No, ma'am.
Same judge.
Same judge.
Right.
Same judge. So you've got to make certain that you understand that you've got to be on your P's and Q's, all right? You can't be over there alienating the child. Or, you know what? I had a case one time where I did have dad, and mom was, lack of a better word, a pathetic liar. Mom so much.
Not a liar, but a pathetic liar.
It was pathetic because you can't, come on, sis.
Right.
No, but really, this was a new baby. And dad really, legitimately just wanted visitation.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And
Which is only right.
It's only right. But mom is still mad because we do have a baby. And they did kind of break up. Okay. They broke up.
Right.
Dad is with someone else.
Right.
So now mom is really mad.
She got an attitude,
so
right?
all dad wanted to do was to legitimate the child and pay child support.
Okay.
Well, mom's like, okay, well, I'm breastfeeding, so you can't see the child. And if you want to see the child, you got to come over here to my house.
Okay. Right.
Without your woman.
Right. Of course. Right.
So I can figure out how I can get you back.
Right.
So you got that. Then as the child got older, of course, you could now take some of the same breast milk and put it in a bottle.
Right.
So dad should at least be able to go for a couple of hours.
Right.
So, dad had to fight tooth and nail just to get regular visitation. But then something else started coming up. You found out that mom lied about her job. She really was lying about the breast milk. Because when dad did get an opportunity to get the visitation, this was like a Similac kind of thing. This was not breast milk in here.
Right.
Okay. Then mom lied about, like, the courts look at your relationship with your other children.
So she had other kids.
She had other kids. she did not raise her other child.
Okay. Yeah, definitely going to be points against her. Right.
Yeah, and why not? Why didn't she raise her other child? She just voluntarily gave the other child to the grandparents and went on and lived her life.
Was living her best life.
Yeah, and
right.
so, throughout the case, there were just so many inconsistencies and lies that's like, you know what? I think I want custody. And so what does that look like? Well, we got to go through the factors. The judges look at OCGA 1993. That is the child custody statute. I used to just send that statute to men so that they know, hey, Dad, you have rights too. Now I have to send that statute to women, basically saying it's the same thing. Dad has rights too. And so if you're bouncing around, I had another case where the woman not only bounced around with where she lived, she bounced around with jobs. This lady bounced around with jobs, bounced around where she lived. Sometimes she lived with a boyfriend. Sometimes she didn't. Sometimes, she's grown, but now she's back over here with the parents.
Right.
Child's going to school. By kindergarten, the child has been to 3 different schools in 3 different areas between pre-K and kindergarten because of just mom's instability. And a court is just not going to have a child bouncing around like that.
Right. Mother or no mother.
Yeah.
Right.
And then in that instance, Dad had another child. And so this son that he had was having a bond with the other child. And Mom is just all over the place. So she wasn't unfit, but she was unstable. How about this? I had a mom who worked at night. Hardworking.
Right.
Just hardworking.
Absolutely.
And so she decided that when she had to work at night, because she was the manager for a particular business, kind of like a nightclub,
right,
that's open at night.
Right.
So Dad's saying, well, hey, instead of always taking our baby and putting him with a babysitter, how about I get him sometimes?
Right.
Why didn't Mom just go ahead and say yes?
Of course. Right.
No, she said no.
And so
she said no.
Long story short, she loses custody.
She lost custody. She did. And she was not unfit. She was just hardworking. But in addition to that, Dad was going to the schools to check on the child. Dad was very actively involved in that. Dad, because Mom either was asleep or couldn't do it for whatever reason.
Sure.
Dad's going to doctor's appointments, dentist appointments.
All that history showing
all his involvement. And of course, I can tell you what I tell these guys when they come in. They say, hey, I want custody. You know what I tell them to do? I tell them, join the PTA.
Okay.
Get on the email list so you know what's going on at the school.
Right.
Visit the school.
Right.
Volunteer at the school. Right. Go meet the teachers. Make sure the administrators know you. Well, guess what? Mom, you should be doing that too.
Obviously, right. But I'm sure on that list, it's the same thing with all the doctor's appointments, activities. You have to be able to prove
practices, not just the games. Not just the games.
Okay.
So if Dad's doing all this and Mom's like, yeah, you can do it, Dad, be careful how much you do. Because if the court sees that Dad is more actively involved with you, you don't have to be unfit.
Right.
The judge can decide it's in the best interest for Mom, for Dad to have custody. I even had a case once where I had Dad. Mom was a school teacher.
A school teacher did not lose custody, Tanya. Not a school teacher.
You know why the school teacher lost custody?
Why?
And Dad was a workaholic prior to the divorce.
Okay.
They had 2 small boys, 2nd and 3rd grade. When they were together, Dad was the one who would wake the boys up.
Okay.
Kind of, the boys like to sleep.
Okay.
Dad go get the boy, he put a little bass in his
voice.
voice.
Right.
Boys
Let's
hop
go.
up.
Right.
Mom goes there, the boys are like knocked out.
Right.
So when they were separated and Mom now had the primary custody, she had trouble waking up the boys and getting out the house, and kids are late to school all the time. And then she testified about how she would wake them up, which was I won't even say.
Right.
But it wasn't unfit, but it really was unhealthy.
She was pushing the line, right?
She was a little bit over the line.
Right.
She was a little bit over the line. And so you've got to watch how you do stuff. You can't handle it. She just couldn't handle it. She could not handle these 2 boys. And they went to school with her.
Oh my God. In her building.
Yeah.
And
So she was late to work, had the boys late to school, meanwhile. And so during the divorce, it was like week on, week off.
okay.
During her weeks,
Right.
homework is late. Boys are at the school late. They're sleepy in class because apparently not only could she not wake them
She couldn't
up,
get them to
she
bed.
couldn't get them to bed either.
Yeah.
So Dad could handle all that.
Clearly, he needed to have custody.
He did.
And so, does it matter? Does it matter the sex of the child?
No.
So fathers are getting daughters just like they're getting sons.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I've gotten quite a few dads, their daughters. Shout out, guys.
Right.
How's everything going?